Hi, welcome to the leadership series with Allied Consulting. Today I have with me Uma Bhakta. She's one of the corporate leaders, and this series is about leadership in real life. You were top talent in an organization when a life-changing event actually happened. If that had not happened, you would have been at an executive level today. And when that event happened, you actually changed.
Yes.
And gave up everything. How did you feel at that time?
Honestly, I felt miserable, giving up, what I had aspired for in life, and the fact that, something which was beyond my control had to come into my life, and because of which everything around me changed. So I was actually put in a completely drawn out of my comfort zone.
So, what changed in terms of priorities, and how did you reconcile?
So, prior to this event which occurred in my life, I think my key priority in life was career. And that's why I kind of moved into a role out of Bangalore into Melbourne and spent about 2 years there doing something completely different to get exposed into, being closer to the customer and getting to the next level, and all that was my world. And of course, managing family and others was by the by. But post this, I think, the key change was that I had to play that lead role, not just in my career, but in all gamuts of my life. And as I was going through this process of all that has changed around me, and I realized that I'm going to have now lesser time to do most things which I used to do before, and that changed my priorities because I had to take a lead role in doing many other things in life. So when that changed, my perspective to life changed, and what seemed the most important thing, which was career at that stage, didn't take the first position in my life.
How did you manage to change these priorities overnight?
Honestly speaking, Ravi, it didn't happen overnight. So it was a process. When the priorities changed, I took some time to come to terms with the changed priorities of my life, because that was not my old style or my old aspiration. So it took a while before I kind of came to terms with this, but life didn't give me too much time to sit and dwell and see which way I wanted to go. So I was actually pushed into doing stuff. And as I traveled around, I understood that I have to do many changes within myself first, and then accept my new self, if I may call it. And that's how I came to terms with the revised priorities.
So if you look back, what would be 2 or 3 critical changes that you thought was needed within yourself to handle this change?
I think the perception. The first key thing was perception. So my, earlier perception was, a leader or maybe somebody who's successful in life is only those who have done a great role in a corporate world. The second key thing was that I used to think that certain things are impossible for me to do personally, and I think I've broken a lot of that inhibitions or that kind of the breaks that I had put to myself. So that was the second big change that I brought in. And the third thing is, even now and then, to keep going outside the comfort zone.
So when you stretch your comfort zone, actually life changes to fit.
Yes.
And your new comfort zone includes the stretched portion as well. That's what you've learned.
Yes.
In this, which means it's worthwhile for leaders to keep stretching their comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And every time you stretch your comfort zone, you're going to get a new piece added into your existing comfort zone, and your scope for influence starts changing.
Broadening quite a bit. So having said that, some of the roles that I did, after all these things was stuff that I had never done before in my life. So I have been in the BPO industry for a long time, and I was, doing majorly operations. But after this, I went ahead to do customer experience, I went ahead and do project management, ops automation kind of roles, which was completely different from what I've done before. But every time I pushed myself into, like you rightly said, into something which I was not comfortable with, it gave me another thing to add to what I was doing. So every time I pushed myself out of the comfort zone, I think personally I have benefited out of it.
At that time, I still remember being one of the top performers. You had certain peers, and now you're actually working for one of them.
Yes.
And there's a good chance that there are people who are working for you who are now your peers, and in future they may get to become your manager.
Yeah.
So how are you handling that situation?
See, I think, every time I come across a situation like that, one thing clearly I tell myself is it was my own decision. And I don't sit and complain or crib at that point of time because this is my personal choice. I could have taken either paths, but I chose this, and I think I'm happy with this, and I want to do, the balancing act everywhere. So I've reconciled, I've come to terms with that, and I would be okay if, if any of them come and, I will have to report to them.
So what you're telling me is that you keep understanding and keep reminding yourself that this is a personal choice
Yes.
that you have made. And because of that, it helps you in the process of reconciling with what's happened or what is happening. So then let me look at the situation now. So what are and how are your priorities now, and how have you come to live with those priorities?
If I can give a spiritual tilt to this piece, I feel a lot of things which, as human beings we think we control and we manage on this planet is wrong. And a lot of things comes to you, or maybe, things change, you are put in different circumstances because of there is something called the purpose. If you can believe in that, there is a purpose to each one of us, one of our lives here. And I strongly believe that that purpose will lead us forward in this journey. So I don't question too much in terms of why things happened, or why things have changed, or why am I not focusing on certain things. I know this is my revised set of priorities, and this is how my life is going forward. I don't question too much about that. So, I kind of move with the flow of the life.
So this is a brilliant thing. So the way to handle change, as you say, is to flow with the change rather than try and resist it. That's what you're telling me. If you look back 3 years ago, again, is there something that you will do differently today than what you did, say, 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
I say most of it, Ravi, because
you'll do something differently.
Yes.
Okay.
Because when I started off, I resisted the change. I resisted every new thing that was around me in life. But these days, anything new that comes in, I'm able to embrace it and just move on with it, which itself is a big change in me, because that reduces the amount of stress that I have. Because I'm not stopping questioning every change or every new situation or every new thing that's happening at work. I don't stop and question, I just move. And believe me, I think once we start looking at things like that, nothing puts too much of stress on you.
So that brings me to the question. See, a lot of times when a significant change happens to us, either in our lives or in our organizations, we are looking at why me?
Yes.
No, why us? Why did it happen to us? And that's where we move into victim mode.
Yes.
Correct? So what you're telling me is 3 years, 2 years ago, you might have been in that victim mode, but you quickly got out of it. So can you say something a little bit more about that? How you travel that journey? Because all of us are caught in this victim mode situation.
See, I think each one of us have a role to play. And each of our roles are so different from the others. So there is no point looking at comparison of, why this didn't happen to my peer, or why this didn't happen to my boss when he was here. I think I look at it as my role is different, and I'm cut out for something different. So that's why something new is happening to me. I don't want to get stuck with comparisons or with, catching up with stuff which somebody else did just because somebody else did it and I want to be there. So I have stopped doing that to myself because I think each one of us are cut out for something completely different.
So friends, we are coming to the close of this discussion that I'm having with Uma. What you can see is what happens when significant change hits us either in life, in our work life or in our personal life, and how it has an impact on us, and how do you manage that significant change. And that's what Uma has talked about. This is leadership in real life. Thank you, Uma, for